The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with the familiar sounds of alien diplomacy. Chittering, clicking, and various forms of harmonic communication filled the vast crystalline dome as representatives from dozens of worlds gathered for what they considered a routine expansion meeting. The holographic display at the center showed a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star in the outer rim. Territories, Commander Zekthar of the Hegemony Fleet adjusted his ceremonial armor and addressed the assembly with barely concealed amusement. His species, the Veltar, had conquered 47 worlds through superior technology and military doctrine. Standing nearly 8 feet tall with chitinous plating covering their muscular frames, they were the undisputed military power of this sector. Esteemed members, Zekthar's voice resonated through the chamber's translation matrix. We present to you the third planet of system, Sol 3. The indigenous species calls their world Earth and themselves humans. Our preliminary scans indicate they have barely achieved faster-than-light communication and possess only primitive fusion technology. A series of amused clicks and chirps rippled through the assembly. The crystalline collective's representative, a being of pure energy housed within a geometric frame, pulsed with what passed for laughter among their kind. Another pre-space civilization? How delightfully primitive. What do they use for warfare? Chemical explosives? Indeed, Zekthar continued, his mandibles clicking in what his species considered a grin. Their most advanced weapons appear to be what they call nuclear devices, crude fusion bombs that they seem almost afraid to use. They have not even mastered directed energy weapons or gravity manipulation. Most amusing of all, they still employ projectile weapons that launch small metal pellets using chemical propellants. The chamber erupted in what could only be described as galactic laughter. The Aquatic Dominion's ambassador released a series of sonar pulses that their translator rendered as hearty chuckling. Projectile weapons? What's next? Shall we tell them about the species that still uses sharpened sticks? Zekthar pulled up detailed scans of human military installations. Observe their laughably primitive tactics. They build static fortifications, move their forces in predictable patterns, and rely on what they call snipers individuals, who hide at great distances with enhanced projectile weapons to eliminate single targets. One shooter, one target? How terribly inefficient. The Techno Syndicate representative, a cybernetic consciousness housed in a mechanical chassis, processed the data rapidly. Their computational systems are millennia behind our own. They use binary code and silicon-based processors. Their internet is nothing more than a crude planetary communication network. We could disable their entire technological infrastructure with a simple viral transmission. Admiral Quinrex of the Stellar Navy leaned forward from his hovering command throne. His species, the Draknari, were reptilian beings who had perfected orbital bombardment tactics over centuries of conquest. Their space presence is negligible. A few primitive stations and outdated vessels that rely on chemical propulsion. We could subjugate this entire planet with a single destroyer-class vessel. The display shifted to show human population centers, their sprawling cities and industrial complexes. Notice how they cluster together in these urban centers, Zekthar observed. Perfect targets for our plasma bombardment systems. They lack proper planetary defense shields or atmospheric processors. A few precise strikes on their major population hubs should ensure immediate surrender. The energy consortiums? Delegate materialized as a shimmering cloud of superheated plasma contained within a magnetic field generator. Have they even discovered antimatter manipulation? Do they possess any form of exotic matter technology? None whatsoever, Zekthar confirmed. They still burn fossil fuels for energy production. Their most advanced facilities use nuclear fission and fusion, but nothing approaching our antimatter cores or zero-point energy extraction systems. Frankly, I'm surprised they managed to develop spaceflight at all with such primitive energy sources. The Hive Collective spokesqueen, a massive insectoid creature connected to billions of minds across the galaxy, vibrated her wings in a pattern that indicated deep amusement. The collective finds their individualistic nature particularly amusing. Each human operates as a separate entity with independent thought processes. They cannot share knowledge instantaneously or coordinate activities with perfect synchronization. How do they accomplish anything of significance? Council Coordinator Veldon, an ancient being whose species had overseen galactic expansion for millennia, called for order as the laughter subsided. His crystalline body pulsed with authority. While these humans appear primitive by our standards, the protocol demands we offer them the opportunity for peaceful integration before considering conquest. Zekthar, prepare a standard first contact package. Of course, Coordinator, Zekthar replied, though his tone suggested he found the formality tedious. Though I suspect they will reject our generous terms. These humans appear to possess an irrational attachment to concepts they call freedom and independence. Our anthropological scans indicate they have a history of violent resistance to foreign occupation. Then we shall demonstrate the futility of resistance, Admiral Quinrex declared. My fleet can be positioned in their system within a standard cycle. One demonstration of our plasma cannon capabilities should sufficiently motivate their cooperation. The Void Walker's representative, a being of pure shadow that existed partially outside normal spacetime, whispered into the chamber through tears in reality itself. Their primitive weapons cannot even breach our basic energy shields. This will be the shortest conquest in recorded galactic history. As the session concluded, the various species began making their preparations. The humans of Earth had 48 standard hours to respond to the Council's demands for immediate surrender and integration into the galactic hegemony. Should they refuse the combined might of 14? Advanced civilizations would be brought to bear on their insignificant world, none of the assembled aliens noticed. The small data packet that had somehow infiltrated their secure communication network during the session, hidden within the quantum foam of their transmissions, encoded in a language that no galactic computer could recognize, was a simple message in binary code that would soon reach a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. The message contained everything the Galactic Council had discussed. Translated into simple English and tagged with a priority classification that would ensure it reached the appropriate military authorities on Earth within hours. Humanity was about to learn that they were not alone in the universe, and that their new neighbors had some very specific opinions about human warfare capabilities. What the aliens couldn't know was that humanity had been listening to their communications for quite some time. Deep within the Cheyenne Mountain complex, General Sarah Mackenzie stared at the translated alien transmission displayed on her secure terminal. The underground facility, originally built to survive nuclear war, now housed humanity's most classified military operations. Mackenzie had seen plenty of impossible intelligence reports during her 30-year career, but this one topped them all. "Tell me again how we intercepted this," she said to Dr. James Chun, the project director for what was officially designated as the Deep Space Communications Array. Chun adjusted his thick glasses nervously. "We've been detecting structured signals from outside our solar system for 8 years now. The patterns were too complex to be natural phenomena, but we couldn't decode them until we discovered they were using quantum entanglement for instantaneous communication across interstellar distances. And you didn't think to report this sooner?" "We reported it, General. The reports were classified and buried. Most officials assumed it was either experimental error or foreign technology. No one wanted to consider the possibility that we were detecting actual alien communications." Mackenzie scrolled through the decoded transcript again. The aliens' casual dismissal of human military capabilities would have been insulting if it weren't so tactically useful. They clearly had no understanding of what they were dealing with. "They think our snipers are primitive," she muttered. "One shooter, one target. Terribly inefficient." Colonel Marcus Rodriguez entered the briefing room carrying a stack of classified files. His Ranger's tab in Special Forces qualification badges told the story of a soldier who understood unconventional warfare better than most. "Ma'am, you wanted the files on our long-range precision programs?" "Tell me about our current capabilities, Colonel." Assume I know nothing about modern sniper operations. Rodriguez opened the first file. Our advanced designated marksman systems can achieve confirmed kills at distances exceeding 3 miles in terrestrial conditions. The Barrett 07A1 firing .50 caliber rounds can penetrate most known materials. The Chetak M200 system holds multiple records for extreme long-range accuracy. But that's just the conventional equipment, Mackenzie prompted. Correct, ma'am. The classified programs go far beyond that. Project Longbow developed electromagnetic railguns that fire projectiles at 7 times the speed of sound. No armor we've tested can stop them. Project Ghostwalker created camouflage systems that render our snipers effectively invisible across multiple spectrums simultaneously. Mackenzie leaned forward. Continue. Project Artemis is our crown jewel. We've weaponized nanotechnology to create smart ammunition that can alter its trajectory mid-flight, penetrate any material by restructuring itself at the molecular level, and track targets using quantum signatures. Each round costs more than a luxury car, but the performance is extraordinary. Dr. Chun pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's defensive preparations. General, there's something else you should know. We've been tracking their approach vector. A fleet of 14 vessels is already en route to our system. Based on their communication patterns, they expect to arrive within 48 hours. And their plan? Complete conquest. They intend to position one ship in orbit and demand immediate surrender. If we refuse, they'll begin systematic bombardment of major population centers until we submit. Rodriguez studied the tactical situation. Ma'am, they're making several critical assumptions. They believe we can't detect them. They assume our weapons can't reach orbit. And they think our military doctrine is based on conventional force-on-force engagement. They're wrong on all counts, Mackenzie confirmed. How many snipers can we deploy? For a global operation? We can position over 3,000 elite marksmen in strategic locations worldwide. That includes military snipers, police tactical units, and civilian long-range shooting champions we've quietly recruited over the years. Mackenzie activated her secure communication system. Patch me through to SOCOM, JSOC, and the Pentagon War Room. Authorization Mackenzie 77 Alpha. Within minutes, she was addressing the highest levels of military command through encrypted quantum channels. Gentlemen, we have a situation that requires immediate implementation of Protocol Omega. We are facing imminent invasion by technologically superior alien forces who have severely underestimated human capabilities. The responses came quickly. Assets were being mobilized globally. Every military installation with long-range precision capabilities received new orders. The message was simple: prepare for orbital engagement with unknown hostiles using extreme prejudice protocols. Dr. Chun, Mackenzie continued, I need you to establish communication with their command ship the moment they enter our system. Make it clear that we wish to negotiate. Ma'am, the transcript indicates they're not interested in negotiation. They will be after we demonstrate what human snipers can actually do. Rodriguez was already coordinating with teams worldwide. General, our satellite network is tracking optimal firing positions. We can position marksmen to have overlapping fields of fire on any orbital approach vector. The experimental orbital reach ammunition from Project Artemis has been distributed to our top shooters. What about their energy shields? That's where our nanotechnology ammunition comes in. The rounds can analyze shield frequencies and adapt their approach accordingly. If necessary, they can phase shift through most known energy barriers. Mackenzie pulled up a global map showing sniper positions already being established. Teams were moving into position on mountaintops, skyscrapers, and specially prepared hidden locations. Each position had been calculated to provide maximum coverage of Earth's orbital space. The aliens made one crucial mistake, she observed. They studied our conventional military doctrine but ignored our special operations capabilities. They see our snipers as primitive because they're thinking in terms of traditional warfare. Ma'am, with respect, Chun interrupted, their technology is still far superior to ours. Their ships have plasma weapons and advanced defenses. Doctor, you're thinking like they are. They see a ship in orbit as invulnerable to ground-based threats, but they don't understand the concept of asymmetric warfare. They've never faced an enemy that specializes in making impossible shots under impossible conditions. Rodriguez was receiving reports from teams worldwide. Positions Alpha through Delta are reporting ready status. The shooters are equipped with the full range of experimental ammunition types: smart rounds, armor-piercing nanobotic projectiles, and quantum-guided munitions. Remember, Mackenzie addressed the room, our goal isn't to destroy their entire fleet. We need to send a message that humans are far more dangerous than they calculated. One perfect shot at the right moment will accomplish more than a conventional military response. The countdown had begun. Somewhere in deep space, 14 alien warships were approaching Earth, confident in their technological superiority and certain that human resistance would collapse within hours of their arrival. They expected to find a primitive species, armed with crude chemical weapons and basic projectile launchers. What they would discover instead was a planet defended by the most accomplished marksmen in known galactic history, armed with weapons that defied every assumption they had made about human capabilities. The aliens were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one you never see coming. The sniper teams were in position, and humanity was ready to introduce their unwelcome visitors to a very different kind of warfare than anything in their tactical databases. Master Sergeant Elena Vasquez adjusted her scope for the 1,000th time, watching the empty space above Earth where alien ships would soon appear. Positioned on a mountain peak in the Colorado Rockies, she commanded one of the most advanced sniper systems ever developed by human engineering. The weapon beside her bore no resemblance to conventional rifles used by infantry forces. The Artemis Mark VII weighed nearly 60 pounds and stretched over 8 feet in length. Its barrel was lined with electromagnetic coils that would accelerate projectiles to unprecedented velocities. The scope incorporated quantum sensors that could track targets across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Most importantly, the ammunition loaded in its chamber contained more computing power than entire military installations possessed just decades earlier. Overwatch. This is Mountain Peak, she spoke into her throat mic. All systems green. Standing by for target acquisition. Around the globe, similar conversations were happening in dozens of languages. On the roof of a skyscraper in Tokyo, Sergeant Tanaka prepared his rail-assisted projectile system. In the Australian outback, Corporal Williams checked his quantum-guided ammunition for the 5th time. Hidden within the Swiss Alps, Lieutenant Schmidt made final calibrations to his experimental gravitational lens scope. Each position had been selected through months of computational analysis. Every sniper had undergone years of training with equipment that pushed the boundaries of physics. They weren't just marksmen. They were weapons specialists operating technology that most scientists considered theoretical. General Mackenzie's voice crackled through the global communications network from her command center. All stations, be advised. Satellite detection indicates multiple contacts approaching from the outer system. Estimated time to Earth orbit, 37 minutes. The alien fleet was using conventional faster-than-light travel, unaware that humanity had developed detection systems specifically designed to track their approach. Earth's defensive network had been monitoring their progress since they entered the solar system, calculating optimal intercept vectors and engagement windows. Dr. Chun watched the approach trajectories on his holographic displays. General, they're moving in a standard conquest formation. The command ship will establish high orbit while the escort vessels position themselves for atmospheric bombardment. It's exactly as their communications predicted. They're following their own tactical doctrine, Mackenzie observed. Predictable and overconfident. Perfect conditions for our response. Colonel Rodriguez was coordinating with sniper teams worldwide. All positions report ready status. Ammunition has been verified and targeting systems are online. Each team has multiple shot opportunities as the targets move through their operational zones. The alien ships were massive by human standards, The command vessel measured over 2 miles in length, its hull adorned with weapon emplacements and shield generators that could deflect most known forms of attack. The escort ships were smaller but still dwarfed anything in Earth's official space fleet. What the aliens didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this exact scenario for nearly a decade. The detection of their communications had provided warning, but military planners had been developing orbital engagement protocols. Long before first contact became a reality, Vasquez studied the technical specifications uploaded to her targeting computer. The alien ships used crystalline armor that could disperse energy weapons but had never been tested against kinetic projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. Their shield systems operated on harmonic frequencies that could be disrupted by precisely modulated electromagnetic interference. "Mountain Peak, this is command," came the voice through her earpiece. "Primary target is the command vessel. Your ammunition has been programmed with shield penetration algorithms and armor disruption protocols. Engage when optimal firing solution presents itself." "Copy, command." "Standing by for target acquisition?" The first alien ships appeared as bright points of light against the star field, decelerating from faster-than-light speed as they approached Earth's orbital space. The command ship positioned itself exactly where military analysts had predicted, establishing a synchronous orbit that would allow continuous communication with ground forces. Commander Zekthar stood on the bridge of his flagship, viewing the blue planet beneath him with satisfaction. The conquest would proceed according to established protocols. A few demonstrations of superior firepower would convince the humans to surrender, adding another world to the hegemony without significant losses. "Communications officer," he commanded, "transmit the standard surrender demand. Give them 30 standard time units to respond before we begin bombardment operations." The message broadcast to Earth was standard galactic hegemony doctrine: immediate surrender, integration into the colonial system, and assignment of the human population to appropriate labor categories based on their primitive skill levels. Resistance would result in systematic destruction of urban centers until compliance was achieved. In her mountain position, Vasquez received the targeting data as alien ships moved into optimal range. Her scope automatically calculated trajectory, atmospheric interference, gravitational effects, and target movement patterns. The quantum sensors locked onto the command ship's bridge section with millimeter precision. "Target acquired," she reported. "Command ship bridge in optimal firing position. Requesting permission to engage." Similar reports came from sniper positions worldwide. The alien fleet had positioned itself exactly where Earth's defenders wanted them, well within range of weapon systems they didn't know existed. Dr. Chun was monitoring alien communications from his signal intelligence station. "General, they're transmitting on multiple frequencies. The command ship is coordinating with the escort vessels for bombardment targeting. They're focusing on major population centers exactly as predicted. Are they detecting our sniper positions?" "Negative. Their sensors are calibrated for large-scale military installations and energy signatures. They can't detect individual human heat signatures at these ranges." Mackenzie smiled grimly. The aliens were operating with the same arrogance they had displayed during their council meeting. They saw Earth as a primitive world defended by obsolete weapons and conventional military thinking. "All stations, this is command," she announced to the global network. "Weapons are authorized for immediate engagement. Show these visitors what human precision looks like." Vasquez took a deep breath and settled into her firing position. Through her scope, she could see the bridge section of the alien command ship with perfect clarity. The quantum sensors had identified the location of the ship's commander based on communication patterns and energy signatures. Her finger moved to the trigger as she made final adjustments for the impossible shot. 200 miles above Earth's surface, an alien commander was about to learn that human snipers were far more dangerous than his species had ever imagined. The Artemis ammunition contained enough technology to revolutionize galactic warfare. It would analyze the target's defenses in real time, adapt its approach to penetrate shields and armor, and deliver a precision strike that would demonstrate humanity's true capabilities to the watching galaxy. The shot that would change everything was moments away. The moment Elena Vasquez squeezed the trigger, the world changed forever. The Artemis Mark VII didn't fire with the sharp crack of traditional rifles. Instead, electromagnetic coils whined to life, accelerating the smart projectile through the barrel at velocities that turned physics into art. The round emerged surrounded by a brief aurora of ionized particles, streaking upward through Earth's atmosphere faster than lightning. In the first microseconds of flight, the ammunition's onboard computer systems activated. Quantum processors analyzed atmospheric conditions, calculated gravitational effects from the moon and sun, and began transmitting adjustment commands to tiny control surfaces along the projectile's length. The round wasn't just following a ballistic trajectory. It was flying with purpose. Commander Zekthar was studying tactical displays when his ship's defensive systems registered an incoming projectile. The warning lasted exactly 0.3 seconds before the round penetrated his vessel's shields, punched through 3 layers of crystalline armor, and removed his head with surgical precision. The bridge erupted in chaos as purple alien blood painted the command consoles. Officers struggled to understand what had happened while their ship's computer systems tried to identify the source of the attack. Their sensors detected no energy weapons, no missile launches, no signatures of any recognized military technology. Incoming projectile from planetary surface, the tactical officer reported in the clicking language of the Veltar. Impossibly high velocity. No energy signature detected. That's impossible, the first officer declared, assuming command as medics attended to their headless leader. Primitive kinetic weapons cannot achieve orbital velocity from surface launch positions. Around the globe, similar scenes played out as Earth's finest marksmen demonstrated what humans meant by precision shooting. The escort vessels found themselves under attack from weapons that defied their understanding of ballistics and physics. Sergeant Tanaka's rail-assisted system sent a smart round through the engine compartment of a destroyer-class vessel orbiting above the Pacific. The ammunition burrowed through the ship's hull, located the primary reactor system, and detonated with the force of a nuclear weapon. The alien ship lost power and began falling toward Earth's atmosphere. In the Swiss Alps, Lieutenant Schmidt's gravitational lens scope allowed him to target the weapon systems of a bombardment cruiser. His quantum-guided ammunition analyzed the alien plasma cannons, identified structural weak points, and systematically destroyed each weapon emplacement with separate rounds, fired in rapid succession. The alien fleet's communications channels filled with panicked reports. Ships that should have been invulnerable to surface-based attacks were suffering catastrophic damage from projectiles that shouldn't exist. Their defensive doctrines had no protocols for dealing with ground-based weapons that could engage targets in high orbit. Dr. Chun monitored the alien transmissions from his intelligence station, translating their increasingly frantic communications. General, they're trying to understand our weapons technology. Their computers can't classify what's hitting them. What are they saying specifically? Mackenzie asked. Quote, impossible kinetic strikes from planetary surface. Projectiles demonstrating guided flight characteristics and shield penetration capabilities. No known technology matches observed performance parameters, end quote. The second-in-command of the alien fleet, Admiral Quinrex, ordered an immediate withdrawal to safe distance. His ships began accelerating away from Earth, trying to escape the range of weapons they couldn't detect or understand, but human snipers had been planning for this contingency. As the alien ships attempted to retreat, they exposed their engine sections to weapons positioned on Earth's night side. The geometry of orbital mechanics worked against the fleeing vessels as they presented optimal target profiles to marksmen they didn't know existed. Corporal Williams, hidden in the Australian outback, tracked the flagship's movement with his quantum sensors. His targeting computer calculated the precise moment when the ship's engines would be vulnerable to ground-based fire. The Artemis round he launched followed a curved trajectory that seemed to defy physics. Using gravitational assists from Earth's mass to achieve impossible angles of attack, the projectile struck the alien, Flagship's primary drive system with devastating effect. Smart nanobots within the ammunition analyzed the exotic matter containment fields, identified resonance frequencies, and disrupted the engine core stability matrix. The massive ship found itself dead in space, its faster-than-light capabilities completely disabled. Planetary surface weapons have disabled our primary engines, reported the flagship's tactical officer. Damage assessment indicates precision strikes on critical systems. Repair teams estimate 48 time units for partial restoration. Admiral Quinrax stared at the tactical displays in disbelief. His fleet of 14 ships had been neutralized by invisible weapons, firing from a planet his species considered primitively armed. The humans weren't using energy weapons or guided missiles. They were shooting bullets with impossible accuracy across distances that should have made such attacks meaningless. "Scan the planetary surface," he ordered. "Locate these weapon systems." "Sir, our sensors detect no military installations capable of orbital engagement. We're reading scattered individual heat signatures, but they appear to be single life forms with minimal equipment signatures." "Individual life forms?" "Confirmed, sir. The attacks appear to be originating from lone humans, positioned at various locations across the planet's surface." The Admiral's reptilian features contorted in an expression his species used to convey absolute bewilderment. "You're telling me that individual humans, acting alone, have disabled a galactic hegemony battle fleet using primitive projectile weapons?" "That appears to be the situation, sir." Below them, Elena Vasquez was already repositioning for her next shot. Her target was the alien ship's communication array, the massive structure that allowed them to coordinate with their homeworlds. The Artemis ammunition loaded in her rifle had been specifically programmed to disrupt their quantum communication systems. "Mountain Peak to command," she reported. "Primary target neutralized. Moving to secondary objectives." General Mackenzie watched the tactical situation develop with professional satisfaction. The alien fleet was scattered, damaged, and completely confused by weapons technology they couldn't understand or counter. Their ships were designed to fight other space-based vessels using energy weapons and guided missiles. They had no defense against precision kinetic strikes from ground-based positions. "Dr. Chun, are you ready to establish communication with their fleet?" "Yes, ma'am. I've been monitoring their emergency frequencies." "Open a channel. Let's see if they're more interested in negotiation now." The message that reached Admiral Quinrax was transmitted in perfect galactic standard, demonstrating that humanity understood their language and had been monitoring their communications for some time. "Alien fleet? This is General Sarah Mackenzie of the Earth Defense Command. Your invasion force has been neutralized by defensive systems you failed to detect or understand. We are prepared to discuss terms for your safe departure from our system." The transmission continued with technical specifications that made the Admiral's blood run cold. Humans had provided detailed analysis of exactly how their weapons worked, the ranges they could achieve, and the precision they could maintain. The data proved that Earth's defenders could engage targets anywhere in the solar system with accuracy that defied galactic understanding of ballistics. "We trust this demonstration has clarified any misconceptions about human military capabilities," Mackenzie concluded. "You have 1 hour to respond before we resume targeting operations." The most advanced military fleet in the galaxy found itself at the mercy of humans with rifles, and the aliens were beginning to understand that they had severely underestimated what Earth snipers could do. Admiral Quinrax stared at the communication console as if it might explode. The humans had just demonstrated weapons capabilities that shattered everything the Galactic Council believed about primitive civilizations. His fleet of advanced warships had been neutralized by what appeared to be individual marksmen using enhanced projectile weapons. "Sir," his communications officer reported with barely concealed panic, "we're receiving additional transmissions from the planetary surface. The humans are providing real-time targeting solutions for every ship in our fleet. The data streaming to their screens was impossible to dismiss or ignore. Human sensors were tracking every vessel's position, movement patterns, and structural weak points. Worse still, the targeting information was being updated faster than their own computer systems could process defensive countermeasures. They're showing us exactly how they could destroy us, the tactical officer translated from the incoming data. Look at these calculations. They can hit any point on any ship from multiple surface positions. Their accuracy models predict successful strikes within millimeter tolerances. Admiral Quinrax had commanded fleets across dozens of star systems, but he had never faced an enemy that fought like this. The humans weren't using conventional military doctrine. They weren't positioning fleets or building defensive installations. They were turning individual soldiers into strategic weapons capable of engaging targets in high orbit. "Analysis officer," he commanded. "Explain to me how primitive kinetic weapons can achieve these performance parameters." The Draknari analysis specialist consulted her computer systems before responding. "Sir, the projectiles appear to incorporate technology we don't possess. They demonstrate real-time course correction, adaptive penetration systems, and targeting capabilities that suggest artificial intelligence guidance. The ammunition itself appears to be more advanced than our shipboard computers." "That's impossible." "Our intelligence indicated they barely understand fusion technology." "Our intelligence was wrong." "Sir, the emergency communication from General Mackenzie came through again, and this time Admiral Quinrax listened with the attention of someone whose life depended on understanding every word. "Admiral, we're aware of your species' military reputation." Mackenzie's voice was calm and professional. "The Draknari are known throughout this sector for your orbital bombardment capabilities and superior naval tactics. However, you've made a fundamental error in assessing human military doctrine. The transmission included detailed files about Earth's military history, focusing specifically on asymmetric warfare and special operations. The aliens found themselves reading about conflicts they had never imagined, where smaller forces consistently defeated larger ones through superior training, technology, and tactical innovation. Your species fights wars between fleets in space," Mackenzie continued. "Humans fight wars between individuals who happen to be in space. Every one of our snipers represents the equivalent of a capital ship in terms of strategic capability. The difference is that we can deploy thousands of them simultaneously from positions you cannot detect or target." Dr. Chun had been analyzing alien communication patterns and reported to Mackenzie that panic was spreading through their fleet. "General, they're requesting emergency consultation with their home command. This situation is outside their tactical experience. Let them talk to their superiors," Mackenzie replied. "It's time the Galactic Council learned what human military doctrine actually looks like." The transmission that reached the Galactic Council chamber triggered the largest emergency session in recorded history. Representatives from 14 species gathered to hear Admiral Quinrax's impossible report about humans who could disable starships using individual weapons. Commander Zekthar's replacement, Sub-Commander Velkrun, provided the detailed analysis that left the assembled aliens in stunned silence. "The humans have weaponized nanotechnology, quantum mechanics, and electromagnetic acceleration in ways our scientists considered theoretical. Their ammunition demonstrates capabilities that exceed our most advanced guidance systems." The Energy Consortium's representative flickered with what might have been fear. "You're telling us that a single human with a projectile weapon can threaten our most advanced vessels?" "That is exactly what I'm telling you," Admiral Quinrax confirmed through the quantum communication link. "We have confirmed kills on fleet commanders, disabled ship systems with surgical precision, and lost all tactical advantage to an enemy we cannot effectively target or counter." The Crystalline Collective's delegate pulsed with rapid patterns that indicated deep concern. "What do you recommend for immediate action?" "Immediate withdrawal from the system and complete revision of our assessment regarding human military capabilities." Council Coordinator Veldon struggled to process the implications of the report. The galactic hegemony had built its expansion strategy on the assumption that pre-space civilizations possessed limited military technology. If humans could field weapon systems that threatened orbital assets, every conquest operation would need fundamental revision. Admiral, Veldon addressed the fleet commander. Are you certain these weapons cannot be countered with existing defensive technology? Absolutely certain, Coordinator. Our shields are designed to deflect energy weapons and explosive devices. These projectiles adapt their characteristics to penetrate whatever defense they encounter. The ammunition appears to analyze our protective systems and modify its approach accordingly. The Techno Syndicate representative processed combat data at superhuman speeds before, delivering an analysis that horrified the assembly. Based on observed performance parameters, humans could potentially threaten any vessel in galactic space using ground-based weapons. Their effective engagement range appears limited only by the ballistic capabilities of their projectile systems. Back on Earth, Elena Vasquez was receiving new targeting assignments as additional alien ships arrived in response to the fleet's distress calls. The reinforcements expected to find a conquered planet ready for occupation. Instead, they found their predecessors disabled and requesting immediate evacuation. Mountain Peak, this is command, came the voice through her earpiece. New contacts entering the system. Designation Charlie 7 through Charlie 12. Configuration suggests heavy bombardment vessels. Copy, command. Adjusting targeting priorities. The reinforcement fleet approached Earth with weapons charged and shields at maximum power. Their commanders had reviewed the engagement reports and implemented every defensive protocol in their tactical database. They were prepared for an enemy that could somehow threaten orbital assets from planetary surfaces. What they weren't prepared for was the scale of Earth's response. Instead of facing scattered individual marksmen, the new alien ships found themselves targeted by coordinated sniper teams positioned across multiple continents. The humans had used the delay to establish overlapping fields of fire that could engage any point in Earth's orbital space. Simultaneously, the first alien reinforcement ship suffered catastrophic failure of its primary weapon. Systems within minutes of entering engagement range. Smart ammunition struck each plasma cannon assembly with precision that indicated perfect knowledge of alien ship design. The vessel found itself defenseless, its offensive capabilities methodically destroyed by invisible enemies. How are they doing this? Demanded the reinforcement fleet commander. Our intelligence indicated they possessed only primitive chemical weapons. The answer came from Earth in the form of another transmission from General Mackenzie, this time including technical specifications that made clear exactly what the aliens were facing. The weapons you're encountering represent the culmination of human military engineering, Mackenzie explained. Each projectile contains more computing power than your largest vessels. Our ammunition can think, adapt, and overcome any defensive system you possess. More importantly, we can manufacture these weapons faster than you can replace the ships we destroy with them. The message included production statistics that shocked the alien commanders. Earth's industrial capacity could produce smart ammunition at rates that would allow sustained engagement with the entire galactic hegemony fleet simultaneously. The humans weren't just defending their world. They were demonstrating the ability to project force throughout galactic space using technology the aliens couldn't counter or replicate. The war that the Galactic Council expected to last hours had become a complete reversal of their strategic assumptions about human capabilities. 6 months after what galactic historians would later call the Earth Incident, the Galactic Council convened for the most significant diplomatic session in their recorded history. The crystalline chamber had been reconfigured to accommodate additional security measures and expanded communication systems. For the first time in Council history, representatives from a primitive world would address the assembly as equals. General Sarah Mackenzie stood at the central podium, her simple military uniform contrasting sharply with the elaborate ceremonial dress of alien diplomats surrounding her. Behind her, holographic displays showed real-time feeds from sniper positions across Earth, a subtle reminder that human defensive capabilities remained fully operational. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice carried by the translation matrix to every species present. I come before you not as a supplicant requesting membership, but as a representative of humanity seeking to establish mutual understanding with our galactic neighbors. The silence in the chamber was absolute. Every delegate remembered the detailed reports of how human snipers had neutralized two separate hegemony fleets using weapons that shouldn't have been possible. The military analysis files had been distributed to every species, fundamentally changing their understanding of what constituted advanced military technology. Council Coordinator Veldon, his crystalline form pulsing with carefully controlled patterns, addressed the assembly. General Mackenzie. The Galactic Council acknowledges that our initial assessment of human capabilities was ... incomplete. We are prepared to discuss terms for peaceful coexistence. Mackenzie smiled slightly. Coordinator, I believe there are some misconceptions that need clarification before we proceed. Your species seem to believe that Earth's defensive demonstration represents our maximum military capability. A ripple of concern passed through the assembled delegates. The humans had disabled two fleets using individual marksmen with enhanced rifles. The implications of more advanced weapon systems were terrifying to contemplate. Dr. Chun, Mackenzie gestured to her technical advisor, would you please share our current military development status with the Council? Dr. Chun activated a holographic display that showed Earth's industrial and research facilities. Honored delegates, the weapon systems you encountered represent approximately 15% of our current military technology. They were chosen specifically because they demonstrated human capabilities without revealing strategic assets we prefer to keep classified. The display shifted to show production facilities that dwarfed anything in galactic space. Massive underground complexes stretched across continents, their purpose hidden behind security. Classifications that even the aliens' best intelligence services couldn't penetrate. Our sniper systems were selected because they're simple to understand and demonstrate clear cause and effect relationships. Dr. Cheen continued. One shooter, one target, as your initial assessment correctly stated. What you didn't understand was that human military doctrine scales individual capabilities to strategic levels. Admiral Quinrax, attending virtually from his recovered flagship, addressed the assembly with the voice of someone who had experienced human weapons personally. Coordinator, I must stress that the humans are not exaggerating their capabilities. My tactical analysis indicates they could engage any target in galactic space using ground-based weapons. Their effective range appears unlimited. The Techno Syndicate representative processed this information through quantum calculations before delivering an analysis that stunned the assembly. If accurate, human weapons technology represents a complete paradigm shift in galactic military doctrine. Traditional fleet engagements become meaningless when individual soldiers can threaten capital. Ships from planetary surfaces. Mackenzie watched the aliens struggle with concepts that human military planners had been developing for decades. Council members, humanity appreciates your concern about our defensive capabilities. We want to assure you that Earth has no intention of using these systems aggressively against peaceful neighbors. However, she continued, her tone becoming more serious, we also want to make clear that any future attempts to conquer or subjugate human worlds will result in consequences that extend far beyond our solar system. The threat was delivered with diplomatic language, but its meaning was unmistakable. Human retaliation wouldn't be limited to defending Earth, they had demonstrated the ability to strike targets across interstellar distances with precision that made conventional space warfare obsolete. The hive collective spokesqueen vibrated her wings in patterns that indicated deep consideration. Human Mackenzie, what are humanity's intentions regarding galactic expansion and colonization? We're interested in peaceful exploration and trade relationships, Mackenzie replied. Humanity values independence and self-determination. We have no desire to conquer other worlds or impose our government systems on alien species. But you will defend yourselves, observed the Energy Consortium's delegate. Absolutely. and we will defend any human colonies or allied species that request our protection. The implications of human alliance offers spread through the assembly like ripples through water. Every species that had been subjugated by the hegemony suddenly saw possibilities for independence they hadn't considered before. If human weapons could neutralize hegemony fleets, liberation movements across the galaxy might finally have the support they needed. Elena Vasquez, still positioned on her mountain peak in Colorado, received a priority communication through her encrypted channel. Mountain Peak, this is Command. Are you tracking the diplomatic session? Affirmative, Command. Maintaining overwatch on all orbital positions. Copy that. Stay sharp. We may have additional visitors once word spreads about today's proceedings. The galactic communication networks were already carrying news of the diplomatic session across hundreds of star systems. Species that had lived under hegemony occupation for centuries were learning that a primitive world called Earth had successfully resisted conquest and was now negotiating from a position of strength. Council Coordinator Veldon attempted to restore order as representatives, began discussing the implications of human military capabilities among themselves. General Mackenzie, what specific terms does humanity propose for galactic relations? Simple terms, Coordinator. Mutual respect, voluntary trade relationships, and absolute non-interference in internal human affairs. In return, Earth offers defensive alliance opportunities to any species facing aggressive conquest attempts. The offer transformed the diplomatic session into something unprecedented in galactic history. For the first time, smaller species saw an alternative to submission to larger military powers. Human weapons technology had created the possibility of genuine independence for worlds that had been considered conquered territories. Additionally, Mackenzie continued, humanity is prepared to share certain defensive technologies with allied species, enabling them to protect themselves using systems similar to our sniper networks. The alien delegates struggled to process the implications of human technology sharing. If every world could deploy weapons capable of threatening orbital assets, the entire structure of galactic conquest would collapse. Military power would shift from large fleets to individual marksmen, fundamentally changing the balance of power throughout known space. As the session concluded, representatives from dozens of species requested private audiences with human diplomats. The galactic hegemony, built on the assumption that advanced technology guaranteed military supremacy, found itself facing a universe where a human with a rifle could neutralize their most powerful vessels. Elena Vasquez watched the alien ships departing from Earth orbit. Their formations scattered and cautious, they maintained respectful distances from the planet, fully aware that unseen marksmen were tracking their every movement with weapons that could reach across impossible distances. Command, this is Mountain Peak, she reported. All hostile contacts departing the system. Maintaining defensive posture. Copy, Mountain Peak, outstanding work. The galaxy will never look at human snipers the same way again. The aliens had come expecting to add another primitive world to their empire. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had been quietly developing weapons technology that made their entire military doctrine obsolete. The mockery had stopped the moment they realized what an Earth sniper could actually do. In the years that followed, human snipers would become legendary throughout galactic space, not as primitive soldiers with crude weapons, but as the most feared military specialists in known space. The aliens had learned too late that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one you never see coming, and humanity had been watching them for a very long time.